Hey everyone, I'm going to show you how I use my Hobonichi cousin. I will take you through each section in here because miraculously I am using every single section. In the past, when I've used the cousin, I've usually skipped at least the weekly section. I am using this completely different than I did last year. I will link that video below, but it's completely different. This leather cover I made myself, but I will link the leather where I buy this leather below. It's Maverick, it's gorgeous, it's my favorite. I don't make covers to sell. I'm so sorry. I always get asked this and I feel so bad about it, but I encourage you to try your own hand at making your own covers because you may surprise yourself. This is the full year cousin. This is the spring start because I only started it this past summer, so I have just a few months to show you in here. We'll start with this section. I am using this for tracking. I have kind of a hate relationship with tracking. I usually never find it to be helpful for me, so I've given myself a lot of liberty here. I am only tracking things when I feel like it's valuable to me. As soon as I feel like it's just a chore and I'm not referencing the information afterwards, I stop. So I have some gaps here in tracking and that was to be expected. So yeah, this just changes on a whim. This bottom section, this is actually my favorite part. I stole this idea from Robin at Talks from the Heart. I am doing a monthly family photo here, and especially with kids because they change so much in such a short period of time, it's really nice to see how much they're changing over time. And another thing is that I am never in photos. I am always the one taking them. So this has been a really great way for me to include myself in this. And now I get, a monthly photo with me in it, and I'm really appreciative of that. That one kind of took me by surprise how much it actually meant to me. So the monthly sections, I have heavily censored information in here because there is a lot of very specific personal information in this book. I didn't say this before, but if I had to categorize this whole setup, it would be a family/household logbook. Everything in here is written after the fact. So this is not for any sort of planning, which is why I'm calling it a logbook. For the monthly sections, this is where I write everywhere that we needed to be as far as appointments and activities, and then also any type of vacations where we went out of town. So this is like a bird's eye overview of where our physical bodies needed to be or were required, and places where we committed to be. So normally in my regular planner, which is a Hobonichi Weeks, which I have right here, if I'm writing down appointments and activities like this, I am usually writing the time, and so it would be like 3 p.m. Sarah, dentist. That's usually how I write things. In here, I'm writing all of that, but also locations, which I find extremely helpful. The whole point of this is to be a reference book for my family in the future. So I want to be able to open up a monthly spread and see where these things occurred as well. The only other thing that I have written in the monthlies are birthdays. I've just used some icon stickers. I am really, really bad at birthdays. I have birthdays documented in my Hobonichi Weeks, but since I'm so bad at remembering birthdays, the more places I can put them, the better. So I have those documented here as well. And that's kind of it for the monthlies. I am adding decor. I do not work in this setup on the daily. I only work in here when I have the time. So I have the leisure to put down stickers whenever I want to. I'm not working in this under any kind of time crunch. That's a nice change from working in my Hobonichi Weeks, which is sort of a daily scramble for me, and I don't incorporate a lot of stickers in there because I don't need to be worrying about them. I don't have the time to, because it's a mostly functional type of setup for me. So this is really nice because I have markers and stickers, and I use watercolor in here and that kind of thing. I need to catch up in here. I was gone visiting Robin at Talks from the Heart for a whole week, so I'm a little bit behind. I don't mind getting behind in this at all. I try not to go too long between working in here because there are details in here that I don't have written down in any other setup. So I don't want to forget those before I have the chance to write them down in here. So the weekly section, again with the decor, I just fill in space with this because I don't write a whole lot of information in here. This section is for all of the nitty-gritty, adult responsibility type information. So for example, if I'm picking up prescriptions from a pharmacy, how much did I pay? Who was it for? What was the medication? And how much I paid for it, etc., etc. And when I call in to refill something, I write that down. I write when I pick it up. Did we change air filters in the house? Any sort of maintenance for all of the boring things. Did we change tires? Did we service a vehicle? Oil change? What was it? Like all of that stuff. I have never had a place where I documented all of those things. And the thing is, my husband has asked me so many times, like, hey, when do we do this? Or what do we do here? Did we already take care of this? And I find myself scrambling in my Hobonichi weeks and just any other places where I think I might have the stuff written down. So I am so happy that I have this contained section where I know I can just flip to this and find that information really easily. So you can see this whole week, I really only had one thing to write down. So I added some stickers and that's basically it. You know, if I receive a phone call from someplace, I write who it was from, who I spoke to, and if there are any extra details that I want to include, but there's not enough room here, or I don't want to squeeze it into these columns, I'll make an asterisk and say see daily. And then I know I can go to August 24th in here and I can write out a lot more detail. So the sections are kind of interconnected that way. And yeah, I'm really, really pleased with how this whole thing has turned out. And that's it. I think this is where I ended up stopping. I love these sterling ink stickers, but this is also a really great way for me to use up a lot of old stickers that I have. I've had a lot of these for years, and I kind of quit decorating in my Hobonichi weeks that I use for daily planning, and even in my journal. I think because I'm using them so frequently, I just can't be bothered to take the extra step with stickers. So I like that I have this space where I can use them up. So the next thing is the daily section. So this is mainly for memory keeping, and it's basically a place where I can put photos down. And then obviously use stickers, markers, and my watercolors. So I have like this really bad relationship with documenting photos. For years, I've done various videos of me trying out different ways of capturing my photos. And so far, this has been the best thing. And I've tried so many suggestions that you guys have given me as far as doing chat books and all kinds of things. So what I do is on my phone, in my photos, I copy and then paste them into a Word document. And in the Word document, you can resize it. So depending on how many photos I need to include on a day, I will size those photos so I can fit a bunch, or I'll make the photo really, really big so that it can take up the whole page. So like here is just extra detail that didn't fit in the weeklies. So I added it to this page. And one thing that really changed from last year when I kind of attempted to do something like this in a cousin is I have lots of blank pages. I do not have photos for every single day, and I gave myself the freedom to have blank pages in here. Last year, I made myself decorate every single page, and if I didn't have a photo, I would have to fill this up with just the really mundane things that I actually wasn't really excited about documenting. And so I only lasted a month last year in the cousin. But this is going much, much better. I find that it's so much easier to pull a page together when I have the foundation of a photo to start with. So that's how I've been doing it. And my decor is a lot less than it was last year as well. So here's where I have a really big photo because that's all I had for the day. This is a sterling ink free printable, and I'm just keeping things very, very simple. A lot of what I'm writing with is Noodler's Lexington Gray. I tip in receipts when needed. And yeah, so it's, if you watch that video from last year, it is much, much different. And this is much more sustainable for me. So something like this, I think this was all in one day. Yeah. But I didn't have anything to document on the next 2 days. So I used up these 2 days to put the photos on, and I just covered up the dates. And because I have a lot of blank pages, this also gives me the room to expand when I have a day that has a lot of photos that I want to document. So if we have something like an appointment, I take care of someone that has a lot of medical specialists. And if we have an appointment, and I like to be very thorough and document everything that happened and everything that was discussed, where it was at, which doctor, yada, yada. So this day, that's all that was documented there. And it's going so well. I used some watercolor here and here. I don't do much, as you can see. I just like to letter with watercolors, use whatever fountain pen I have inked up, and then my Sailor Shikiori markers. Sometimes I just scribble down a background like that and call it a day. This is only watercolor, that's it. So I love how this is working out. Again, really, really simple. And I find that this is really all I need. I'm very, very satisfied with how this has turned out. This is a note about a pharmacy filling a prescription. And I think we're coming on the end. I'm a little bit behind here in August. So I have another notation here of a medical specialist, and I have photos that I need to put in the rest of August. So what I have is this folder that I laminated. It's sterling ink vellum, and I laminated it and then sliced the edge. So I keep photos in here that still need to be documented. And that's really it. That's how I'm using the cousin. The point of this is to have it be shelved like in a public place, like in the living room or something. And so if anybody in my family, mainly my husband, if he needs to find out information, I want him to be able to pull this out and go to the monthlies or the weeklies and find what he's looking for, or me, and then tell him the information. And then and then we have all of our memories in the dailies, and we can look back on those photos. So that's what I have there. Here I have a little medical book. This is the 3-pack Hobonichi Weeks, like extra inserts that can slip behind your weeks. And I covered one with scrapbook paper. And what I did is I photocopied the calendar that's in the front of the Hobonichi weeks. I pasted it in here, and then I'm color coding per person. So if anybody is under the weather in any way, any sort of ailment, big or small, I will highlight in the respective color. And then this gives me a nice overview so I can pick up on any trends that may be happening or something that I need to be paying attention to. And I will write this date in the subsequent pages and then write all the details, like what was going on and if I did anything for it, you know, if I medicated or what have you. I like this separate from here because if I want to grab this and maybe take it to the doctor or something, I like that it's all condensed in this one little place. And because I use the Hobonichi weeks for planning and it's always in my purse, this slips really nicely in there as well. This sticker book, this is the B-Sides and Rarities, I think, sticker book in the standard size. So I have a bunch of icon stickers here. They're from various shops. And I keep them in here because I incorporate those throughout here as well. I haven't been as good lately, but they're here and I like having them here for that. Because, you know, from year to year, I'm gonna be switching how I decorate. I didn't want to commit to a specific scrapbook paper for this, so I made it so that it's temporary and removable. It's just like a slip jacket because for next year, I'm gonna want to change it. I'm not gonna want to have this same scrapbook paper on here. So there you go. I've given myself the ability to change because usually I glue it on. That's what I did here. I glued on the paper and I was like, let me not do that. I don't want it to be permanent. So that's what I've done here. For next year, I'm not gonna be using the cousin. I still want to continue what I'm doing with this because I find it really easy to do. It's very manageable and it's very helpful. The stuff that I've written in here, I've referenced it many times already myself. So I want to continue with it. The cousin works really, really well for this, and I'm glad that I have this in my arsenal because I know that it works, but I have a hankering to try something else. So I pre-ordered the Take a Note planner. So I'm going to be trying that for 2022. And if for any reason that doesn't pan out, I know I can count on the Hobonichi cousin and I can just go back to it. Hopefully not. I don't want to have to buy this. But I think I can make the Take a Note work. So that's everything. That's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you again soon. Bye.